guys, my name is Beatrice and I am going to show you how to create a YouTube thumbnail. It's very easy, so let's begin. Open up Photoshop and go to File, New, and for YouTube the proper dimensions will be at pixels 1280 and the height 720. I like to keep the resolution at 300 because it keeps some majority of the details. When you upload it in YouTube, it has a tendency to compress your image. So if you want it to pop, for me, the best way to do it is to save it with 300 resolution. So click Create. And this is where we could start. This is an empty canvas. You decide what you want to put in it. I believe what makes a great YouTube thumbnail is using big block fonts. You're trying to evoke an emotion, trying to attract somebody. Try to think about it as a trailer to a video clip, just like you would see a trailer for a movie. You'd get super interested if you like to see just a bits and pieces, like a sneak peek. So basically you're telling a story enough for somebody to click on your clip and decide whether or not to watch it. So for this thumbnail, I decided to put Cardi B. She is a very famous celebrity, so I feel like people would click it most likely to figure out what's going on. Not trying to promote people to do clickbait. What I'm saying is something to attract your viewers to your clip. So I'm using big block font and I put the logos in there, trying to explain exactly what I'm going to go over in this video. So we're going to start from scratch. This is how it would look like in the end, and we would work from there. So the first goal for me would be is unlocking the background, because I don't want a white background. I want to change up the color. You do it by clicking right in the middle of the white space. You could do it, you could click the option of color overlay, press OK, and go from there. So we're going to create a new layer, and I wanted to add the Cardi B picture. Typically what's best for composites is using a PNG form. So what I did was I go to Google. In order to get a PNG file, which PNG is a transparent file, but sometimes it will not turn out to be transparent. It would either have a checkered background, a white background, or transparent. But the goal is transparent. And a lot of them show like if they're saved that way, but they're not. So I'm going to type in Cardi B PNG. And you see that there's a checkerboard here, but it shouldn't look that way. If it were PNG, it would be completely transparent, but you could always save the picture. I'm not going to save this one, but save the picture and then eliminate it in the background. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So the picture I chose was very bright and colorful, like Cardi B. Let me save it. So I already saved it before to create. Let me save the image. All right. So in order to get the image you've saved, go to File, Place Embedded. And there is my image. As you can see, there is still checkered, meaning it's not fully transparent. I still like the image, so I want to remove the background. You have a couple options to remove a background. You have the option of a quick selection tool, which what it does is basically box in what you want. So you continue to select it. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But since I drag the image in, what it's going to do after I select is typically you press delete, then that option comes up, could not complete your request because the smart object is not directly editable. And I press OK. Then you right click on the layer you want to rasterize, which would help you edit on top of that image. You click rasterize image, then you go back, the selection is still active, you click the button delete, and it eliminates what you're trying to eliminate. So you can see that there's a little bit more fringe to the sides because of the white. That's one of the reasons why I use background of this color, so any mistakes I make, I can see it instead of seeing it after. And I would do the same thing. You would continue to select the image, the part of the image that you'll like to eliminate, doing the same thing. So there's another option, magic wand tool, and what that does is it looks for patterns or consistent colors that you're trying to select. So it gets that checkered board, and you see that the white is left behind because it's just it looks for what's similar. So I'll deselect by pressing Control Delete. You can also deselect by clicking select, and your option would be deselect layers or just deselect. So if you don't want to select the first layer, so if you wanted to deselect, you would go to select, the select option, and it would be Control D here where it says here Control D, but you would click it here if you don't want to use the shortcut. So you continue to do this. Eliminate the background, which option you find best. This seems like for me it's not as productive, so I like to switch around until I see that I could, if that's easier, I'll do it depending on the image. They're not always the same. You'll probably do the same thing for the whites. It doesn't want to do the whites because it's not connected. So another option you may have is you could continue to have that selected, and everything you don't like of the image, you keep it selected. Then you'll go over to background eraser tool or eraser tool. So for right now, I'm going to use eraser tool. Sometimes it helps to invert selection because it's selecting the opposite. So you want to put it as the opposite. Okay. So I want to erase all these extra dots. You can use a bigger eraser brush. You would go up here to this option and go where the size says, and you bump it up until you feel more comfortable. So you feel like it fits your need, and you'll go around and you erase. See, that's a issue that you can run into when you use the brush. You can actually go too far and it erases an important part of the image. You could always go back by pressing Control Z at the same time, and that goes behind that allows you to make up for the mistake you made. So you erase. Oops, did it again. Continue erase, and you do that until you find that you like the image and it eliminates everything about it that you don't like. We'll continue to do that. Fast forward. Alright, so I cleaned up everything that I do not like of the image, and I'm pretty happy with it. There's not that much fringing. What I do like doing to avoid looking at all the mistakes that you see in between the hairs, and there's a little bit of white here. It's really hard and tedious to get in there and eliminate any extra fringe. So I'll do that. I'll create a stroke, and if you don't know how to create a stroke over your image, or creating a stroke, you could right click to the layer you want. You could click twice to the layer you want, and then layer style pops up, that little menu option. I like to select the stroke option, click on that, and then click on it again, and it allows you to adjust it to what you want. I wanted another shade of pink just to match your lips, and some people just like it really big and obvious, It really depends what you want. It alternating between outside, inside, and center makes a difference. So if you put center, it'll cover the person. If you go outside, it goes outside of the lines. If you go inside, it'll do the same thing. So you could do like a silhouette if you want, but that's not the purpose here. So I am going to do stroke from outside. And I want to use a different shade of color. See if I can change that up. What helps, if you want to match a color that you like on the image, you can do that by just pressing the little arrow, the little dark looking arrow that you see could help you select any color you want that's within the image, so it could be consistent. That's a really cute color. You can go around, select around. That's how you can find the color. Okay. So I like that color. I may change it and press OK. Sometimes you can see that if you miss something and it looks weird, like for me, this looks a little bit crappy. If I erase something, I got a little bit too far erasing. You could go back and erase it. Oops, I went too far. By lowering, I'm gonna lower the brush size. And then make that look like it's consistent with each other. Every time you want to go back in your work, you always could click Control Z. Do the same thing everywhere you don't like. Next, we are going to create the block letters. So we're going to create a new layer. We'll do Control, new layer. We're going to create a new layer. You could do that easily by clicking this little box that looks like a piece of notepad being ripped. Looks like a notepad piece of paper. You click on that. And if you want to create new letter, in order to create new font, you type in what you want. I selected this font because it's big in block. A block type of a letter. There's serif and sans serif. That's a graphic design lesson. I'm just gonna go through the basic of this. So this is a big block letter, and I like that font, so I'm going to use it. How to create a YouTube thumbnail. You could always, if you don't like that it looks like a big old sentence, you could press enter and make it spaced out, or you have the other option of eliminating half of the word, or you just could leave how to create because it's too much and it's overwhelming. How to create, and you could put Control J and select the center of the T. And I'm just gonna put the word thumbnail. Use the check mark. Scroll down. How to create thumbnail. And I don't like the fact that the font is in front of her face. So I want to create like more of a dramatic effect, like boom, kind of like her personality. So I would scroll down. You could put the layer underneath the image, which it creates that effect like it's coming from behind. And you could also add a stroke, change the colors, create a pattern by double clicking on the layer, and the layer style menu pops up. You could contour, you could put texture, you could put stroke, but for right now all I want to do is put stroke. No bevel or emboss. Press OK. And I'll do the same thing consistently until I feel comfortable with the image. So I like the way this font looked. I changed it up a little bit. You can do the same thing. Change the font until you feel like it tells the story you want it to. Always use the thumbnail as a trailer. I feel like what really completes it are final 2 details, which I want to add the logo of Photoshop and the logo of YouTube, because I feel like that's basically telling the audience what's going to be about. So click on the YouTube link that I saved over the internet. Remember, type in PNG because that eliminates the background. You see that there's transparency, and as I move around, there's no white, there's no checkerboard, there's none of those things in the background. It just gives you the transparent, and it helps you save a lot of time instead of removing the background, which is very time consuming. So I'm going to add that there and do the same thing with Photoshop. Thankfully, the Photoshop logo does not have a background. It's just a square. So I'll press the shift button and it helps me continue to constrain the proportions so it won't look distorted. And press the checkboard and move this to what I want to be. I think that's a little too big. Let me minimize it. Let me align it to where my eyes feel comfortable enough to look at. I feel like when it comes to an image or when you try to do a composite, the image has to tell a story. The color evokes an emotion. The little details is what really helps make your thumbnail pop out. Pop up. Pop. This is what's going to make your image pop. You tell a story, give a reason why the viewer should click on your video. And if you want more videos like this, make sure to comment below if this didn't help you out. This video is great for beginners. So if you're having a hard time trying to maneuver through Photoshop, I break it down a little bit more detailed. If you want a more faster paced video, let me know. Be sure to comment below. Be sure to comment below to let me know if you want to see any more how-to videos. Thank you for watching and have a great day.